Hi, it's Matt here, and I'm back because I want to talk a bit about a little all-ages group ride I did in London recently with my wife, 6-year-old and 3-year-old. It was a great event organised by the London Cycling Campaign. It's on a mixture of marshalled roads, closed roads and cycle lanes, and it was just a lovely day, so let's get into it. Just do a quick hardware check. I was on my Space Horse all round, and my wife was on her Temple Step Through lightweight, and the little ones were on their Woom bikes. The 6-year-old was on a size 3 and the 3-year-old was on a size 2, and I also packed the kids ride shotgun tow rope just in case anyone needed a little helping hand, so more on that in a bit. So we met up for the start of this ride on Highbury Fields, and the background to this is that Ride London was cancelled this year, and that normally includes a free cycle event, which is like a short loop of London on closed roads for families and younger riders. So an alternative event was set up called the London Cycling Festival, which was an event all across London, various bodies involved running it, like the London Cycling Campaign and the Zero Emissions Network, Line Bikes, and in the case of this ride we were doing Cycle Islington. So the idea was that there'd be various sites throughout London for this event, and there'd be group rides sort of taking off and going to the sites and that kind of thing. So we were headed to Hoxton, where there'd been a bunch of roads closed for like a 2k loop and stalls and bike mechanics and stuff like that. So we set off to Hoxton. It was going to be about half an hour of cycling. We thought I'll put the link in the description to the route, and I honestly I didn't really have any idea how this was going to go. There was obviously a safety side which I was conscious of, but I knew it was going to be well run by the organisers and the volunteers, so that was good. And in terms of any tired legs, I was thinking if anyone starts to struggle, could always do a bit of towing or pushing, and or worst comes to the worst, we get stuck down in Hoxton, we can just get the overland back to Highbury. So it felt like we had some decent contingency plans in if needed.
That goes past Britannia Centre and down. They both meet at the bottom at Hoxton Square, and the bit across the bottom's got cobbles. We'll be leaving from here to go back at 11:30. We'll be coming that way, we'll be going back out that way. So everyone enjoy the ride? Yeah. So you're free to do what you like.
Once we got to Hoxton, we had a bit of a cycle around the closed road loop, and then we hung out in the stands for a bit before we met back up with the group and headed back to Islington. So we took a slightly different route back to the one we came down on, obviously just really at a pottering pace, which took about half an hour to get back. So now, whilst it was a largely traffic-free route, there was still signs of the tension that goes on between motorists and cyclists in London. It was a Sunday morning. It was mega quiet, and we were a relatively small group of 30 to 35 people. So, and we weren't strung out. We stayed together, but there was just the odd junction where the marshals sort of held traffic for maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so at most. And there was a bit of honking from time to time, and I think I heard somebody shouting "get a move on" or something like that at some point. So it was just a bit of a depressing reminder that there's still some way to go before cyclists are fully accepted on the roads of London. But it wasn't long before we made it back to Highbury, and all in all it was a pretty epic day. Despite some initial nerves about taking the little ones out, having some good contingency plans in place made all the difference, and we'll definitely be doing it again.